One Piece is back, ladies and gentlemen. Victory Screech! For at least two chapters. Two chapters, One Piece, chapter we just had, chapter that's going to happen this week coming up. And then after that, we're going on break again, but it's okay. We're used to that at this point. All right, so last chapter, end of the last chapter, we had Marcus Mars, one of the Gorosei. He finally arrives in Punk Records. First time we're ever seeing the inside of the giant hangar that's been looming over Egghead Island the entire arc, right? So we're getting a look at it. We don't really know much about what's on the inside because it's very dark in there. You know, scientists, right? You got to have dramatic lighting when you're, building a huge hangar to store your brain, okay? I would imagine bright lights might be a little bit, too disorienting, okay? But I'm really hoping next chapter there's going to be a moment where Marcus Mars is like looking up and then all of a sudden super dramatically, like it's like an action movie or something, just boom, 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 like the lights all illuminate the inside of the hangar and Marcus Mars gets to see what Vegapunk's been doing in his off time and just like, all right now. And we didn't really get Marcus Mars's like reaction in the last chapter. We didn't have him being like, "What is this? Egads, Vegapunk." I feel like Marcus Mars would say, "Egads." I feel like it would be something like that, right? We didn't get his reaction. He was there. We see the distribution Denden Mushi. I think the kanji that they use for that particular model just means distribution. I guess live streaming Denden Mushi, that's what I'm using because it shows up in Film Red, and that's what Ute uses to stream her concert all over the world. Actually, good reception on those things because she was able to stream a concert in the dream world into the real world. I don't know about you, but it's a pretty interesting piece of tech. I think Freddy Krueger would really want to get his hands on that thing, okay? So anyway, Marcus Mars is like, your luck has finally run out, Vegapunk. After I destroy this Denden Mushi, I'm sure the broadcast will fail, right? A little bit presumptuous just from, Marcus Mars's perspective, because he is literally dealing with the smartest guy, like, ever, okay? And it's just like, yes, I know I destroyed the monitor room, and then that did not end the broadcast, but destroying this will surely end said broadcast, right? And there's most likely multiple of these live streaming Denden Mushis, right? I don't think Vegapunk's going to be like, I will put the only one that's broadcasting the message that's going to shake the entire world in this one location. Granted, it's a very secure location, but I don't think he's just going to put one there. So I can't get this idea out of my head, like Marcus destroys that one, and then there's like a little thing that ticks up over him that's just like, you have destroyed one out of all 52 live streaming Denden Mushi. And then it becomes like a video game where it's like Marcus Mars has to run around the entire island and like find all the hidden Denden Mushi and like destroy them all. Like it's some stupid side quest in an N64 game or something like that. There's the island. Go and find them all. There's one inside the vending machine. Oh man, you have to go look up a walkthrough online. I'm like, where are all the Denden Mushis at? It's just like, there's a hidden one that's in the sewer. It's like, damn it, I have to go down there and like destroy all the Denden Mushis. Like, that would be great if Vegapunk sends him on a meaningless side quest, like eliminate all Denden Mushis on the island within 2 minutes. Oh yeah, that would be a great Vegapunk troll job for sure. So, he doesn't destroy the Denden Mushi yet. He's walking toward it, menacingly, mind you, and then he just hears like a blorp. You ever hear a blorp, or perhaps a glurp, or perhaps a blah, 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 blah. He hears like the onomatopoeia effect for like bubbles, okay? Like blah, 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 blah. And then he just kind of stops, and he looks up, and then that's kind of it. That's the end of the chapter, right? We don't have his facial reaction or anything. He's just like, and then that's it, okay? So, I am going to go back to something that I said way at the beginning of this arc. Like at the chapter where we found out what the different satellites were. I think it was the chapter where Kaku and Lucci and Stussy were heading to Egghead. They hadn't quite reached it yet. And Kaku drew that little diagram that was like, yes, Vegapunk. There's the main body, the Stella body, and then there's 6 satellite bodies, right? And in that chapter, you go back and watch the review, I specifically said, don't trust that bullshit, all right? Because I'm like, nah, that's what Oda does. This is a very common tactic, okay? Make the audience think that there's 7 bodies, that there's a main body and then 6 satellites, and then, oh wait, turns out there was actually a 7th body, and it's Eustace Kid this entire time. He had a 7 on his railgun, guys. That's all the proof I need. Kid is going to be a Vegapunk, all right? If he survives Elbaf. I don't know what's up with him right now. I would actually be honestly okay with that idea. Not that if Eustace Kid is a Vegapunk like right now, like he was a scrapped idea or something, but if he dies and they take his corpse and they turn that into a satellite, yeah, I'd be all right with that. I mean, why not, right? I mean, maybe he'll be more prevalent in the story after that happens. I don't know. But at any rate, there could be more seraphims, there could be more satellites stored in Punk Records. Here's the other kicker, and I talked about this before. I made a video on Punk Records not too long ago, and I brought up, like, okay, it's a really big hangar. It is a huge thing. It is the top of the egg. So the labo phase has, like, the egg that's, like, cracked open, and the lab where the command room and everybody was, you know, where the fighting was taking place, you know, with the Seraphim and all that, that's kind of like nestled in the center of the egg right here. Okay, the yolk, as it were. But then you have the top half of the eggshell, which is all Punk Records. Now, Vegapunk's brain is undoubtedly huge. We saw it, you know, in the flashback with Kuma before he sliced the top of his head off when he was turning Kuma into a pacifista. We saw his head was giant. It was even bigger than Kuma, all right? And Kuma himself is a big guy, right? So he cut off his head and he stored it in Punk Records. And here's the thing, though. Even if you count for all the satellites all gathering information and storing it at Punk Records and stuff like that, I don't think Vegapunk's brain is so massive it's covering all of Punk Records. I say that as I prepare for the next chapter where it turns out the entire Punk Records is the brain. It's like, all right, well, I guess, you know, I got that one wrong. But, you know, I just don't think it's that massive. It's the size of the egg itself. Okay, that would be a pretty big brain, which, you know, Vegapunk's brain might be able to get that big, but like in just a couple of years with a few yes, I know, because the satellites are now like multiplying the amount of information coming in, it might be bigger, but point is, it's a huge hangar, and there might be other stuff in there. Okay. Also, what better place to store the inventions and the things you're working on that you want to keep away from the world government? Keep it up in Punk Records, which is probably the single most secure place in all of Egghead, because that's literally where Vegapunk's brain is. Okay. So when it comes to the Stella body, a lot of people have brought it up. It's like, dude, you know, your brain is the thing that orders your body around, right? Well, Vegapunk's Stella doesn't really have a brain anymore. He cut it off and attached an Apple antenna to it. So the idea is, you know, the real Vegapunk, the genuinely real Stella body of Vegapunk would technically not be a body at all. It would technically be his brain, and the brain is in records and just using the Stella as a puppet. Like, it was the real Vegapunk. It was just the brain speaking through the Stella body, okay? And so the Stella body is dead. The physical form of Vegapunk is dead. Like the body, the skeleton, the you know, the heart and the muscular system and all that, that's all dead and gone probably, right? Like Sanji's holding on to a corpse right now, right? But Vegapunk, being the most brilliant man in the world, and he's already built, you know, the pacifistas, and he's already designed the Seraphim and everything like that, and like he's a master of the lineage factor and DNA and everything like that. He was able to take Lunarian DNA and then the DNA from the warlords, and then combine that with the green blood, which is synthetic devil fruits taken from the DNA of like Senor Pink and Daz Bones and everything, adding pacifista cyborg tech on all of that, and you make the Seraphim, right? So, you know, if Vegapunk is an old man and he's like, well, I'm not going to be around much longer, Quasar, wait a second, I can make a badass Seraphim body for me to inhabit. Like, why wouldn't he be able to do that? Like, he would, of course, be able to do that, right? So we could have a completely new satellite that shows up, you know, like S-Vegapunk or S-Punk. A lot of people have like, S-Punk sounds cool, so let's go with S-Punk, right? Okay? That's an idea, right? And that would be cool. And then Vegapunk, like battle-ready Vegapunk comes down. He's like super muscular. And he's like, I have synthesized 7 different types of green blood inside of me. I have access to Logia, Paramecia, and Zone. I guess he wasn't able to synthesize Logias. But he, you know what? If anybody would have been able to, like, I take a Paramecia power and a Zone power and combine it together to make my own crazy mad scientist Frankenstein devil fruits, it would be Vegapunk for sure, all right? And then he comes down and starts fighting Mars. Like, that's one option. That's one option, and that's really cool. But there are some other options on the table here, okay? So, I was trying to think, what could be in Punk Records that would make Marcus Mars surprised? Marcus Mars, keep in mind, knows all the secrets of the One Piece world. He probably knows what happened during the Void Century. He knows about Eam. He knows about the Will of D and all that stuff, because he's Eam's, like, that's their entourage, right? That's, like, literally what they're all about, okay? They rule the world, okay? So he knows a lot about this stuff, and he's been alive for at least centuries. Maybe as far back as the Void Century. Maybe he came around a little later, so maybe Marcus Mars is only like a few hundred years old or something like that. But whatever. He knows pretty much all the secrets. He's very old, and he's now looking up at this whatever it is that's going glorb, 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 glorb in Punk Records. What could be up there that he sees that would either give him pause, like, or egads, or Vegapunk, you bastard, or it can't be, like something like that. That might be the reaction we're going to see from Marcus coming up, and I want to know what it is, right? Or might he just be chill no matter what? He looks up and it's just like, oh, Seraphim of Vegapunk. All right. He's like, okay. So Vegapunk, we don't know the limits of what he really understands about, like, the world government and everything like that. He told the Straw Hats some stuff, like Shaka was having that whole conversation about O'Hara with Robin and everything like that. But we don't know everything that Vegapunk knows, okay? Vegapunk could have access to information that he learned over the years that is, like, he might know about Eam's existence. He might know about what the Gorosei were before he ever knew that they could transform into these weird eldritch, mythical zone creatures, right? He might have known all of that. In that regard, I would say if it's anything involving Eam or the Gorosei themselves or anything from the Void Century that's up there, like, here's a clone of all of the Gorosei. Like, he made clones of the Gorosei, like Seraphim of the Gorosei. People have said, like, why not make Seraphims of the Admirals? Okay, because the Admirals are way stronger than the Warlords, so why would you start with the Warlords and not the Admirals, okay? And in which case, going even further than that, why just make one clone of, like, Mihawk? Why not make, like, 100 clones of Mihawk, right, as Seraphim, right? That would be the best army in the world, right? I would argue the Seraphim project is relatively new. The Pacifista project, in and of itself, is relatively new. It didn't start until Kuma, and that was only, like, a few years ago, right? That wasn't that long ago with Kuma's backstory. Like, 4 or 5 years ago is when that all really started, right? So, like, it takes a few years for him to get the original Pacifistas, the prototypes that are all, designed like Kuma, to get those produced, and then the Seraphim came later. So I guess maybe just starting with the Warlords because they had their DNA on standby, and it's like, okay, well, also the idea is that the SSG is replacing the Warlord system, so that's probably where that came from. It's just like, oh, okay, well, we need a fighting force for the SSG that is as good, if not stronger, than the Warlords, because that's the whole thing that we're replacing. And so Vegapunk was like, well, why not just do one better and make, Lunarian cyborg clones of the Warlords with artificial devil fruits in them? It's like, oh yeah, that there's no way that could backfire, right? Okay, so this project is just at the beginning of its phase. So, but people have brought up, like, what about cloning the Admirals? What about cloning the Yonko? What if Marcus looks up there and he sees a clone of Kaido, Big Mom, Whitebeard, and Shanks? That, I think, would give him pause. I think at that moment, I think that would be our Egads moment right there. Like, Egads, he's made an entire army of Kaidos. Oh, God. Oh, no, dude. Dude, this would be such a fan service moment. It really would be. But just imagine, Punk Records, he looks up, Marcus does, and the lights just... And it's just lined with massive cloning tanks. And they're all filled with Kaidos. Or they're all filled with Whitebeards. At that point, I think Marcus would be like, oh no, we were not right to trust this man. We were not right to give this guy a budget. Oh no. Activating S-Beards 1 through 6. It's like, oh God, no. Gura, 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 gura. Just, Just like, okay, that would be great. Or Kaido comes down and just like activating S drunks 1 through 74 and just like, oh no, S fish. Just call Kaido S fish. That would be great. You know, activating S mom. Okay. Yeah, like that. That would be terrifying. That would be cool, right? That would be so awesome, you know? That would give it something. A clone of Eam or a clone of the Gorosei would work too, but it's like how much knowledge did Vegapunk, like would Vegapunk have even been able to get DNA from the Gorosei or Eam? Like even if like, I'm not completely ready to throw out the idea that Vegapunk would know about Eam. Like he looks through the records, he figures something out, he installed a spy camera at Marijois. Like I'm not completely ready to throw that out that he knows about him, but at the same time, like would he be able to like clone him or do anything about him? Yeah, probably not, right? But the Yonko, I could see they have Kaido's DNA. That is canon. They have Kaido's DNA. He was captured and placed in Punk Hazard. They have traces of that shit. All right. So out of all of the Yonko, maybe not Big Mom, maybe not Whitebeard. I mean, although I don't know, Whitebeard probably left a lot of DNA laying around at Marineford. There's probably some blood that he could have definitely picked up, right? Shanks, maybe not, but like Kaido especially. You could make an army of that guy. Like, you could. Like, that is in the canon of the story. They have probably just vials of Kaido's blood, okay? I mean, literally, Vegapunk, that's the whole origin of Momonosuke's smile. And that wasn't smile, that's more of Caesar's thing. Caesar slapped the smile label on him. But Vegapunk's artificial devil fruit of the dragon fruit, the Uo no Mi Model Azure Dragon, or Peach Dragon in Momonosuke's case, that was synthesized from, you know, Kaido's blood, all right? So they have Kaido's blood, and that was years ago, before Vegapunk understood more about cloning tech or something. Like, that was before the Seraphim Project, or the Green Blood Project, or anything like that. That was back when Vegapunk was trying to, like, synthesize an actual physical devil fruit. But, like, with Green Blood, he doesn't even bother making, like, the physical fruit anymore. Like, I don't even need to make the fruit Quasar. I can just synthesize this blood and then run it into a clone. It's just like, okay, well, why couldn't you do that with Kaido? Synthesize the Dragon Zone, throw it into a Seraphim of Kaido. There you go. Also, we would get to see Kaido with badass Lunarian wings. That would be neat. You know, it's like Kaido and King did the fusion dance or something. Which they totally would do. They were really good friends, right? A lot of other things involving the Void Century might be afoot here. What if Vegapunk figured out something involving Joy Boy? Or people have thrown out Lily. Like, what if it's a clone of Lily? I know we're basically set on we know that there's a giant brain in Punk Records. That's been confirmed already. That's the obvious thing. But, you know, is there more than just a giant brain than that? And I would say, yeah, I mean, like, overall, because let's say there's a giant brain. Then that's all there is in Punk Records. Marcus looks up and he sees a giant brain. Unusual, but not something that he probably would be unaware of. It's like, oh, that's where Vegapunk's brain went. And the brain could probably talk. It's probably hooked up to a machine or something that could render its thought process, its brain waves into speech. You know, Vegapunk has text-to-speech going on or whatever. Just like, hello there, Marcus. How have you been? It's like, ah, Vegapunk. So you're the real Vegapunk, I presume. Yes, I am a brain. I can see that. Well, I'm destroying this broadcast, you know. They could have some banter. And maybe Marcus kills that poor Den Mushi, and then the broadcast doesn't, you know, go away. And then he's like, where is it, Vegapunk? Tell me where it is, or I will obliterate you. And then at that point, the brain could be like, Marcus, you're such a fool. I could tell you, but it won't matter. Because I've scattered these streaming Den Mushi all over the island and all over surrounding islands. I have some of them floating up in the sky. I have some of them down below in little bubbles. There's no way that you could destroy them all. You can eliminate me, but my message will continue, or something like that, right? Obviously the brain would be reinforced with, like, I'm assuming some pretty durable plexiglass or something, but Marcus Mars is a giant yokai Itsumade that can fire a giant energy beam, so, I mean, I imagine he would be able to destroy whatever's in there, unless it was protected by a legion of Seraphim, Whitebeards, and Kaidos. Indeed, yes, right, of course. So, yeah, I think going along that route with it would also, I mean, just from the fan perspective, too. Like, we would lose our shit, especially with the break coming up again. Like, we had this chapter. I really hope Oda reveals what was in Punk Records in the next one, because we're going on break again after we just got off of another break. So maybe Oda's like, all right, I'm going to do these 2 chapters and I'm going to give them something really good. This is the setup, is something in Punk Records, and now boom, clones of the Yonko, clones of the Gorosei, or more Seraphim, or more Seraphim Vegapunk, whatever, more satellites, whoever, clones of the supernovas or something. I don't know. But, like, there's got to be something in there that Marcus is going to be like, whoa. And it also probably would have to be something that could defend the brain. Actually, okay, that does make the most sense, because Vegapunk would probably be aware that, like, all right, I'm not going to leave that brain in that hangar unattended, you know, like without any kind of protection. Yeah, I could put like really durable casing around it, but like that's not good enough. I need a guardian for my brain, because that is his brain, okay? He can make as many bodies as he wants. He's cracked the nugget on human genomes and shit like that. Like, he can make whatever clones he wants, okay? He could be a Kaido. You could make, Vegapunk could, with his current technology, create a clone of Kaido with all the Lunarian buffs and everything in the Dragon Zone, and then control it with his brain and be like, I am Vegapunk, Quasar Bagara. It's like he could do that, and it would be so damn cool, all right? And that would protect his brain, most certainly. I mean, who are you going to bring to protect a brain? Probably Whitebeard or Kaido, or, you know, a really strong character in the One Piece world, right? Okay, or just a legion of Seraphims. Just, yeah, that would be probably good enough. The Seraphims are pretty tough, okay? Like, they're bubbled right now, and they're probably going to be, you know, released soon. But, like, the Seraphim's power level that we've seen in Egghead is nothing to scoff at, all right? They're pretty dangerous, all right? So we'll see where that goes. But, yeah, that's the video talking about what was in Punk Records. Let me know down below. I've already sold myself on the headcanon that it's a legion of Whitebeards or Kaidos, so I'm just going with that. If you could think of something more cool, as if anything more cool than that could happen, let me know. But right now, I'm going with that shit, alright? Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking, signing out.